Okay, I'm going to be that person. Let's talk about being a morning person. Let's talk about why being a morning person is the kind of person you want to aspire to be if you're not. But before we get into that, what does productivity mean to me? Because I feel like when I speak about productivity, I get so many comments saying things like, it's not all about work. It's not all about like doing your best. It's not all about being like working all day. That's not what that's not my definition of productivity. Productivity to me is using the time that you have wisely. That could be 1 hour in the day. That could be half an hour in the day. That can be 2 hours in a week. It's whatever time you have, using that in the most productive way, being as functional as possible, being prepared, which means that you have ticked off your outcomes, which means that you have been able to feel successful and accomplished that day for whatever amount of time it is that you've dedicated to studying or working or getting something done, which means that you are then able to play, right? So being productive for me is not about being a workaholic and working until you burn out. That is the toxic definition of productivity. Rather, it's the complete opposite. So in the morning, I find the best time to do work. I find it the best. I find that I can just be super focused. I can have my blinders on and I can just get on with it. Is this science backed? Actually, yes, it is. There's a lot of evidence to show that in the morning, that is when we are the most productive because of a number of different reasons. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what those reasons are, like why the morning is actually the best time, and try your best to make it work for you. And if you are struggling to make it work for you, I'm going to be giving you a few tips and a few different ways that I do to be a morning person. Now, these are tips, by the way, that are going to work. I get a very little sleep every single night. I have 2 kids under 2 and they keep me awake. And if I'm able to get up in the morning and get stuff done, then you definitely can with the tips I'm going to share with you. Back in 2016, Nolan Pope, who is a professor, looked at some results, some GPA results of students that did morning classes versus afternoon classes. And he took away any variables, things like whether there are more females than males in one of the classes, or whether they were just generally like the morning classes were generally smarter, or if they had really smart, like high achieving parents. Took away all of those variables and just looked at the fact that this group take the class in the morning and this group take the class in the afternoon. And guess what? The class in the morning did much better in their assessments and exams than the class in the afternoon. And he was trying to figure out like why that could be, and actually there isn't a pinpoint reason that he could like just say scientifically this is why, but he kind of came up with these 3 theories. Number 1 is that people just generally do better in the morning. Like there's a lot about nature that probably could agree with that. Like in the morning, that's when things are up and awake and the sun's out, and like the morning is just the time when we're so energized and we've got like the energy to do things. The second is that attendance usually varies in the afternoon. So usually in the morning, like that's, you wake up, you're available in the morning, like you have the time. It's usually the afternoon where you might think, oh, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, or oh, I'm tired, or oh, I feel a bit sick, or oh, this, that, and you'll usually cancel your afternoon classes. So those that had morning classes actually turned up, their attendance was greater than those in the afternoon. The third one is that teachers might actually teach better in the morning than the afternoon, which is also interesting because it backs the theory of the fact that everyone does better in the morning. Teachers can teach better, students can learn better, we all do better. And I think this is interesting because like the fact that the morning is such a special time is something that I've definitely felt when I've tried to find different ways of revising and tried to find what works for me. I've tried the morning, I've tried the afternoon, I've tried like late evening, I've tried to do all-nighters, and nothing beats my morning productivity. From 8 a.m., 9 a.m., all the way until like midday, 12 p.m., nothing beats those 4 hours there. And when I have lost those hours because something has happened out of my control, or like I just don't feel that great, when I've lost that morning, it genuinely feels like the whole day has gone, because it really has. The amount of stuff I can get done in the afternoon is completely incomparable to what I can get done in those 3 hours in the morning. And there is a bit of science that has started to come out looking at noradrenaline, which is a hormone but also a neurotransmitter, and it is important in the regulation of the sleep-wake cycle. So your circadian rhythm, which kind of keeps you up in the morning, and when the sun comes up, you wake up, and then it's in synchrony with melatonin, and there is some research that shows that it may be slightly higher in the morning, which means that if it's slightly higher in the morning, it's helping you with your attention span, it's helping you with memory, it's keeping you up. Like, it's really working in the morning. And then as the day goes along, it drips and it goes down, and it's thought to be leaky. It's thought that you have like leaky neurons, and that drips, and then you are going back to sleep again. That cycle starts all over again, which is why we're more productive in the morning. But right now, the science is a bit scattered. There isn't really any solid information to show why morning risers, why people that start in the morning do better. But there are ways of making yourself a morning person. So there are ways that you can actually try to be more of a morning person and see if it works for you. Because ultimately, we're all different, right? I'm not an evening worker. I can't do things in the evening, whereas someone else might be great in the evening. But it's always nice to try what would work best. And here are some ways that might work best for you if you want to try to be a morning person. My first tip, start the night before, always. Never think you're going to wake up in the morning and you're just going to have the motivation, and you're going to have the determination, and you're going to be your best self. Because in the morning, no one is their best self, okay? In the morning, we're just trying to wake up, we're just trying to open our eyes, and we're just trying to start the day, especially in this weather, okay? But if you prepare the night before, you've given yourself a little bit of help. Like, imagine you had a helper that could like do the dishes for you, and that could like lay your clothes out for you, and that could pack your bag for you. That could be you the day before, okay? And that is what I do. So I'll pack my bag the day before, I'll charge my devices, I'll write myself a list of things that I want to do, I'll prepare as much as I can. So in the morning, there is the least friction possible. Like, I just wake up, okay, that's not how my day goes. I've got 2 little kids, but you know what I mean. Like, I wake up and things are laid out for me. Like, I know where my clothes are. I know what I'm gonna wear. I have my laptop and everything's in my bag. There's no chance of forgetting something. I know when I'm gonna get started as soon as the day begins. Like, as soon as I drop the kids off to nursery, it's all set up for me. And that is what makes me a morning person, because I'm not having to do the mundane things. You want to make sure that you're starting your day with the exciting things. So get the mundane things out of the way the night before. The second thing is waking up the same time every day. This is a habit that actually is proven by science to be quite strong to help you be more of a morning person. Being able to sleep at the same time and then waking up at the same time is a really important factor of trying to be a morning person. And the reason why this helps, it goes back to the whole like circadian rhythm thing, which, by the way, there's a whole video I've done about sleep, so do check it out. I did it a few years ago. But the whole idea of your circadian rhythm, if you're able to get your body in a rhythm where you sleep at the same time and you wake up at the same time, you're just helping yourself work for yourself. So you're helping yourself with that rhythm. Those sleep cycles know what to expect. You're going to sleep at this time and you're going to wake up at this time. And so your body is in tune. So if you're currently thinking about your sleeping routine, your sleeping habits, and you're thinking, I woke up at 12 yesterday, 9 o'clock the day before, 7 a.m. the next, like, I'm not in a rhythm at all, that's probably why you're struggling, because those days that you're waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be tough if the next day you're waking up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So just try to make sure that you're sticking to a routine that means that you're waking up at the same time. It will be difficult at first, but once you get into that routine, I don't even have an alarm clock. Like, I have no alarm. I haven't used an alarm clock in years because my body is just so used to waking up 6 to 7. Like, I was in a hotel on Tuesday night, no alarm clock, and I woke up at 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm just so used to it at this point that my body just knows what to expect. And so it isn't difficult to wake up, even when I'm so tired. It's just in a habit. The third thing is to have a really defined plan that you're going to execute as soon as you wake up. Now, remember this, and I said this in a previous video as well. Remember that when you wake up and you are thinking about what to do that day, you don't want to rely on internal motivation. You don't want to rely on your Amina right now. I don't want to rely on Amina right now to make decisions for me, because Amina right now might be tired. I might have had a bad night. I might not be in the mood. I might not be thinking about what's best for me right now, or what's best for me to do right now. But Amina yesterday would have been a little bit more smarter. She would have said, okay, cool, tomorrow you need to accomplish and achieve these things. This is how you're going to do it. And so having a really defined plan means that when you wake up in the morning, and you're, it's nice and early, you're not thinking, oh, what should I do? Scratching your head, trying to decide on like what to do first, what's the most important task. First thing in the morning, like, you're relying on yourself to make those decisions first thing in the morning. Like, obviously you're not going to do well. You need to make sure that you're giving yourself that like be your own boss and be your own manager the day before. So then in the morning you have a to-do list. And that is like, honestly, like till this day, till today, I still do this. And on that list, you want to have a non-negotiable. So one thing on that list that you have to do. So your list could be like 5 tasks long, 4 tasks long, whatever, you know yourself. On that list, you need to have one task that is a non-negotiable. Like, I need to do this. If I do this, if I do nothing else, I'm okay. There has to be one task on that list. Okay, next one is time blocking. I talked about this in the previous video and I spoke about it in a bit more detail, so feel free to watch it. I will put it here. Time blocking is great. It means that you are able to visualize your day. It means that, quite similar to before, you're able to say what you want to do, where you want to do it. It gives you a perfect ideal. So when you want to be that morning person, you know exactly what you are going to do. Like, you have that visualization, you know what's expected of you, and you can just get started. Make sure that you also like block in breaks as well, and like time to relax, time to have lunch, time to have breakfast, etc. All of that should be time blocked. And that you can actually just time block for the morning if you want. Like, you can just say, I'm going to do these tasks between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. and just have like a 5-hour time block, and then the rest of the afternoon, because you've like achieved those great things in the morning, you can take it a little bit slower in the afternoon and be a bit more flexible and a bit more like spontaneous with what you do. It's kind of how I do. I try to do the most important things in the morning, and then in the afternoon I'm a bit more like meh. If it gets done, it gets done. Meh. If it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. I wish I was like that. I'm really not. But yeah. 2 more things. The last penultimate one is to choose a task that is challenging for the morning, but not too challenging, and a task that you can do independently. So to be a morning person, you need to have something that you need to do in the morning, and that task that you need to do needs to be something that you don't require someone else's help. Because if you're now spending the whole morning trying to email this person and find this from some person and try and get that from someone else, you're probably going to stall. You're probably going to get distracted. We don't want that. We want a task that's going to allow us to get into flow state. We want a task that's going to let us just get on with it, get started, and just smash it. And then last but not least is to have a must-have break. So in the morning at some point, so between, I'm gonna say 8 a.m. because you probably wake up at like 7 or something. So from 8 a.m. to 12, there needs to be a break there somewhere that is very defined. Use a timer, fix a timer on your phone saying, I'm gonna have a 20-minute break, 25-minute break, somewhere in between there, and I'm gonna do this thing in that break, like whatever it is, relaxing, and then I'm gonna come back and continue. So it means that you've got a break, you've allowed yourself some time to just rejuvenate, stand up, have a little walk around, get your steps in, raise your heartbeat, and then you can get back on with it again. And those are some things that I do every day. Like, honestly, this list of things that I've said are things that I do every single day. It's such a habit at this point, and it just means that I can be a morning person. I'm happy. Like, what time is it? It's 9 o'clock right now, and I'm so bubbly. I've literally just drunk some water. I don't even drink coffee. I've literally had 1 sip of coffee in my life, and that was a prank. Like, my husband was like, you have to have coffee. You have to try it at least and swap our cups. But that was literally it. Like, I've never had coffee in my life, and I don't need it because I've given myself so many reasons to want to wake up, to get started. And I've made it so easy that like saying no to getting started is impossible. Like, I'm going to get started and get on with work. But yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know if there are any other tips that you like to do in the morning that gets you going and gets you started with the day. I'd love to hear it. And let me know if you want to see anything else on this channel. Leave your questions and your video suggestions down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.